Welcome back, nice to be with you again. Now I'm taking you on a journey, whether you realise this or not I don't know, but I am taking you on a journey to freedom. It's a good place to go, good destination. And in our journey to freedom so far we've been shaking off curses and breaking evil covenants. Now I come to stage 3 now. Have you ever asked yourself if this is applicable to you? May not be, hope not, but if it is applicable, why don't my relationships last? I get into a relationship, it might be for a few months or for a year at the most, and then everything goes wrong and I break up with this person who I thought I was really going to spend the rest of my life with and so on, and it just didn't work. Things just don't work out. And it's a sad phrase when you hear, how you getting on with so-and-so? Oh, things didn't work out. Well, why is that? Well, I tell you, it's in the bloodline, or it could well be in the bloodline, and that probably will shock you. Why is it that something in my bloodline is stopping me from making stable and lasting relationships? You interested in that? Well, keep on listening. I'm going to tell you about it in this video and in a few videos this week. Now I want to start to explain the answer by looking at a couple in 1 Samuel. Now 1 Samuel was written by Samuel, and in 1 Samuel 1, chapter 1, we read about a childless couple called Elkanah and his wife Hannah. Obviously Jewish people. Now Hannah was desperate to bear a son, and so she prayed with many tears to have a son. Now in Jewish culture, in the Bible, we read that the Jews went up to Jerusalem for certain feasts, and they went up to the couple went up to Jerusalem for the feast, and there was Hannah praying. Her lips were moving, but no sound was coming out. And the high priest saw her and thought that she was drunk. So that's a good piece of discernment there. In 1 Samuel and 1 Samuel 1, you read about thinking about what the high priest said so. And Hannah, when they'd eaten in Shiloh, after they drunk, Eli the priest sat upon a seat, and she was a bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept. And this is in 1 Samuel 1 and verse 10. So Eli the priest saw, he was the high priest, he saw Hannah upset and he thought she'd been drinking. And she said, no, I haven't been drinking. She said, I've been praying and I've been asking the Lord for a son. And so Eli, actually, because of his, although he wasn't a really godly man and his sons were not godly, he blessed Hannah. He had a position, he was high priest, he blessed. And he released power when he blessed her. He released power for her to conceive. And Hannah made a vow. If you read down to verse 27, 28, it's a good thing to just maybe pause the video or read through 1 Samuel 1 at your leisure. In verse 27 and 28 in the Amplified Bible, we find that Hannah got pregnant and she gave birth to a little boy who she called Samuel. Now the name Samuel means God heard me. He heard my prayers. And she made a vow to the Lord that after the child had been weaned, that means taken off the breast and onto solid food, she would dedicate him to assist Eli and train as a priest to the Lord. It was a dedication of her little boy. Now, in fact, this is what happened. She took him to the temple when he was old enough and out of nappies and so on, to take him to the temple, and Eli trained him as a priest. And this was what's called a godly dedication, a dedication of the of the person of the little boy. Now, dedication is the key word. Within the nation of Israel, there were 12 tribes, and one of the tribes were called the Levites. Now, those tribes each of the tribes were allocated a portion of land, but the Levites were not allocated a portion of land because, as we read in Deuteronomy 10 and verse 8, the Lord set apart the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord and to stand before him and to bless his name. In other words, the whole tribe was dedicated to be priests to God and to worship him and to serve in the temple. Within this tribe, the Levites, there was a special family. Aaron, who was Moses' brother, and his sons, they were dedicated. See how I repeat the word dedication here? Aaron and his sons were dedicated to be high priests, and Eli was one of that family line. This was by God's appointment within his chosen people. Now, this was within the Jews. This was godly appointment. But very often within every nation, not the godly nation of Israel, but many nations had a system of high priests and priesthoods which were set in place, the high priest and then the priest, who were set in place to serve false gods, not the true God. So this was not a godly dedication, but within many nations, heathen nations all around the world, they had a system, a priesthood, and within that priesthood there were priests dedicated to serve false gods. Now, I've given you a strong clue there. Why do my relationships not last? We'll be pursuing this in our next video. Join me then.